Hello and welcome back to Super Northwest. Today I've come over to Lostock Park in Manchester. Now Lostock Park is just on the outskirts of Trafford Park. Well, it's part of the Trafford Park estate, and as you know, I'm all interested in this sort of thing. So first time in a long while I've been out doing a video, so let's get back into it. I want to go around Trafford Park and see if I can find some of the old stuff that's still there from years ago, from when it first started. The old railway stuff, pubs, things like that. So let's go and take a look. So I've come across my first little gem. There's some old traffic lights here from the old railway, which was part of some sort of crossing. Now I remember back in the day when I used to work around here when I was younger, the trains having to stop the traffic to get through. It was quite busy back then, but it was sort of like that was at the end of its demise, but quite a spectacle at the time. You see where the lines used to cross the road. It's been disused quite some time now, so I don't really know why they've left them here, all these lights. But they're probably worth a little bit of nostalgia to people right now. Railway enthusiasts, people like that. They'd be well interested in one of them hanging on the wall. Keep crossing clear. They're in really good condition as well. They've not been used for years then. I reckon about 15 years, something like that. Yeah, it's a lonely old site, that. So busy back in the day, look at it now, it's just dead. You can see where it disappears there behind that building. It's all overgrown, that now, like most of it is. A lot of the railway network's been ripped out as well. So this is an interesting photograph. This is two little shunter engines which were initially used around Trafford Park by a company called Norton's Scrap, which is incidentally still there today in Mellors Road. Now, they were used to cart the scrap around to wherever it needed to be, and then later on, up until 2012, these engines, or engines of these type, were used to cart freight to and from the freight terminals at Trafford Park. Now, there was a big container base near the Trafford Centre, which is no longer there, but a couple of years back I'd done a little video about a stretch of the railway, so go and check that out. You'll find more information, but the old shunter sheds are still there by Kellogg's. Now it'll be interesting to find out whether these two little engines are still knocking around today. I believe they were built in the 1960s, around 1963. Now the engineering was that good, they lasted all that time. Sure, they've been looked after, but if they were only taken out of service around 2012 off the railway, it would be great to find out where they are today. Surely they've not just been scrapped. That would be such a shame. So hopefully someone's looked after them and we can find out where they actually are. So for all you railway enthusiasts watching, probably look decent in your back garden, that. Now, on the rise of Trafford Park, when the old estate was getting taken over by industry at the end of the 19th century, the rise in workforce, they needed somewhere to drink. Now, there was a lot of pubs built at the time for the workforce to go and have a bit of a bevy and that, like, after work. There's not many left now, but I know of one, maybe two, which is still here. And there's an old one which they've been doing up. I think it's just down this road here. Let's go and take a look.
Just down this road here on the right, this is one of the oldest pubs. Beautiful building this is. And this is the Trafford Park Hotel. Go and have a little look at this bad boy. Beautiful that is. Running through here as well, they've got one of the greatest tram systems in the world. Look at this, absolutely mint these are. They clean on board, they run on time, get you all over the place. So this is part of the old Trafford Park, this. Just behind it, through that road there, I'm going to take a look at that. That's part of the old village. I'll try and dig some old photographs out of how it used to look. But that is absolutely beautiful, that. I thought they were going to restore that a few years ago, because there has been work going on, but it seems to be going on for years and years. Maybe they've ran out of money, I don't know. So I bet it was quite posh, this, back in the day. So all the old lamps are still on. I'm not sure whether they're the original ones. They look right for the period. And there's the logo on the top there, Trafford Park Hotel. 1902, wow. So it just goes to show what I was saying there. Obviously they needed somewhere to drink at the end of the 19th century. Because obviously it was getting more and more busy, more and more people coming into work, and all the factories. And can you imagine the people who staggered in and out of there? Wow.
This old photograph shows some workmen laying the train lines down past the Trafford Park Hotel. Now if you look straight down the avenue, you'll see an old water tower which has got a lot of history to it on its own. And if you look on the right, you'll see some terraced houses. Now they back onto the village where we're going to go and take a little look at in a bit.
So off round to the side of it. Very grand indeed. So you wonder why something like this beautiful gets left just to rot. Please leave a note in the comments, because I'd really like to know and find out who actually owns this. And is it going to be redeveloped or not? Because you look at some of the carveries we've got now, the modern carveries and stuff like that, where you take your family, absolutely bland and rubbish. There's no soul to them or anything like that. But that's another level, that really is. So I've come round the back, so I've just seen a digger. Let's have a look. Oh no, there's just a wagon parked up. Doesn't look like there's any building work going on or anything like that with it. The old fire escape. So that was the Trafford Park Hotel. Beautiful building that one is. Just at the side of it here is the old village, Trafford Park Village. Definitely going to try and find some old photographs of this place. It's all coffee shops and you've got Greg's. Now, not only did the workers in the industry need somewhere to shop and drink, they also needed somewhere to worship as well, which brings me to St Anthony's Catholic Church. Now, I believe this is a new church which was built in 1995. The old one was 1904.
So I'm just going to jump in to correct myself here. This church was reclad in 1994, and it is the original church. It was one of 3 churches, I believe, in the area, which was made out of corrugated steel. Well, it was a timber frame, and then they put corrugated steel around it. Now, this is a couple of pictures of inside the church. They stopped doing services here in 2009, but I believe it's used for 1 or 2 things in the modern day. Now, from the outside, it just looks like an old tin shed, and I suppose it is, which was, you know, it served a purpose for the workers back in the day, and it's lasted the test of time as well. But as you can see inside, some of the stained glass windows and some of the icons and things like that, absolutely beautiful. And you wouldn't think from looking at the outside of it that this was on the inside.
But that's what it is today. So many a worker would used to come in here of a Sunday, dressed in the Sunday best or their overalls, go in, say the prayers, and then get down the pub over there and go for a bevy. Just come across another little landmark here. Not sure what it is, but it's quite alien to me, but I'll have a little look, see what you think.
Can't think of it, honestly.
Some type of weird football stadium in the middle of Trafford Park. If anyone knows what that is, just let me know in the comments. Cheers. There you go. For all those United fans who watch my channel, I couldn't leave you out, could I? That's all you're getting. Here's Matt Busby. It's the first time I've ever been through this ground here. Here's the famous Munich tunnel there. Now, I had to stop and take a little look at this. In 1958, young football team managed by Sir Matt Busby lost their lives in a plane crash. And there's the team there, and there's the clock, which stopped at the time the plane went down. So, what an absolute waste. They would have went on to being a brilliant team then. No matter what team you support, you can't help but respect that. Well, I can honestly say that's the first time I've ever been close up to United's ground. Now, I always love things like this. Old war memorials and stuff like that. And this is all the men from Trafford who died in the First and Second World Wars from around this area, and probably a load of them went to the work in the industries in Trafford Park. Now, I love stuff like this because my granddad fought in the First World War, and he fought with the Loyal Lancashire Regiment, and he was from Preston. He might have even known some of these boys here. Let's start down here. So it says, to the glory of God and in memory of the men of Trafford who gave their lives in the Great War. Superb. Now, this is the original entrance to Trafford Park, but it wasn't always here. They moved it later on down the years, brick by brick, over to this side because it was in the way. Now, it was originally down by United's ground, so you can imagine that back in the day, the grand entrance to the big estate, where all the deers used to run around and stuff like that. and all the posh people used to come through. The gold-plated wagons, horse-drawn carriages.
Now this is an old photograph out of a book I've got called Images of England, Trafford Park. Now this is the original position of it. So if you can picture now where Manchester United's ground is, this would be on the right of it. So Manchester United's ground would be on the left at the back. So it's roughly where the KFC is now. And then over the road from it you had the old Botanical Gardens, White City. And then this is one of the other entrances from Trafford Park Estate. You see a gang of workers hanging down there, probably having a good chat, putting the world to rights. And then going past is a horse-drawn carriage, probably someone important in that, maybe one of the Trafford family.
The gates are beautiful, proper old school them. The gatekeepers must have lived in this part of it. That was actually open up until recently, a couple of decades ago. They had to close it because of vandalism. I should imagine there would have been lights on top of them. Probably gas powered back in the day. Take a look around the back. So it started raining quite heavy, so I've had to turn to my phone. But just one more thing before we go. Someone in work put me onto the legend of some vinegar stones, which were used around about the time of the Black Death. Now, I believe that people who were coming into Manchester with goods and stuff like that, there was no sanitation back then, so they used to use this vinegar and this vinegar stone to wash their hands in to get rid of all the germs. So this is the vinegar stones. So they used to fill these up with vinegar, and then when you were changing money and stuff like that, before you did that, you put your hands in that and washed them, and it sanitised your hands.
So these stones were introduced on parish boundaries round about the time of the Great Plague, which was also known as the Black Death. Now, people used to put the coins in from inside the boundary to pay for food brought in from local suppliers. So the coins would then get sanitised in the vinegar, and the suppliers would take the coins out of the stones.
Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed our little day out today around Trafford Park. Some of the sights and some of the old stuff. Just a short one today. Hope you've enjoyed it. My name's Andy, and I'll see you in the next video.